Hi, and welcome to Mansfield Today, the travel edition. Now, as you can see, I'm flying solo because Jeremy is traveling around the country. Now, when it comes to travel over the last few years, obviously it's been quite difficult for people with the lockdowns and COVID regulations all over the world, making it sometimes impossible to go from one place to another, and especially if you were stuck overseas before all the countries went into lockdown. Now, it wasn't too bad in the olden days, and I like to use that word because I used to use a travel agent. But then along came the internet and all of these booking sites and everything, and we thought, oh, great, fantastic. Online, we can book everything for ourselves. We can cut out the middleman, we can save money, and we can do the changes where we want to and when we want to, except it becomes very difficult, especially if you want to change things or if things like flights getting cancelled go wrong, and then you wish that you had a travel agent. Now, I know a lot of people will still use travel agents, including myself, wherever I need to if I'm going out of the country, because it's easy enough in country to do stuff. Although over this weekend, we also saw that some of the airlines got grounded and a lot of people didn't make it down to the Cape for the Cape Cycle Tour, which is a bit of a problem for a lot of people. But if you had a travel agent, they would have let you know and put you onto something else. Now, to walk us through why you should be using a travel agent rather than going it alone, we have Nikki Schmidt of When We Travel, all the way from, I think, Cape Town? Hi, Nikki, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Melanie. Thank you very much.
Now, the first thing I'm sure is on a lot of people's minds is the difficulty that people had trying to get from place to place when they'd done all their bookings online and they may have been overseas and they were trying to get back to South Africa because the regulations were changing all the time, that hardly anybody was actually on top of what could be happening when it comes to flights or going to other countries over the last 2 years. Did you have a lot of people coming to you and saying, please help us?
So my clients did, because at the time of when we were going into lockdown, there were people on holidays never expecting a lockdown to happen so quickly. And then to add to it, we had SA who had decided to stop flying. So it was a scramble for a couple of days to get people home safely and in time before the border shut and planes weren't allowed to enter.
That was a bit problematic for so many people. Now, do you deal mainly with business people and corporate bookings, or do you do across the board and helping people who are in their own capacity as a personal capacity?
I deal with both. As an ITC, I look after some lovely corporates as well as some holidays, honeymoons, holidays, the whole lot.
Okay, so if I say mistakenly or misguidedly decided to ever get married again, which would not happy, it wouldn't happen. If I wanted to go on a honeymoon and I said to you, right, I want to go to this place, then I want to go to that place, and I want to have this dinner with that person in that restaurant. How big is your little black book when it comes to organizing things which are a little bit more out of the ordinary, like a bespoke booking?
Oh, bespoke bookings are special because there's always a way to make things happen. And yes, it's possible, and that helps travel agents having internet access as well. That's how we find a lot of our information. And yes, it's doable, and that's the nice side of travel when you do something bespoke for a couple, a person, a family, because that's what makes memories.
What I'd like to know is what is the most unusual thing you've been asked to organize?
Oh, um, oh, lots. Like special game drives for a special occasion, dinners on beaches, for proposals, birthday cakes on aeroplanes for a surprise birthday, or for an engagement on an aeroplane where you organize a cake and a bottle of champagne. So a few.
So, I mean, those are not things you wouldn't be able to organize on your own on the internet because you can't go and book an air ticket and say, right, I need a cake on the plane because that's not going to happen. There isn't a way of doing it online. So when it comes to things like that, and especially when it comes to big group bookings, it can be quite difficult if you're going it alone, not so?
Yes, I would think so. But I would say that because I've always been a travel agent, and I just feel having somebody to hold your hand and doing that for you just makes your traveling experience a lot easier.
Okay, and when things go wrong, I know I've had a couple of occasions where I've sat there and the plane has been delayed and the period of time between getting from one flight to another hasn't been long enough. What would you do in those situations? I mean, if the person has done a booking through you and there's been a mega delay, would you have already sorted it out on the other side for them?
Yes, you do. We do. We're normally one step ahead. Like, so for an example, when we were in lockdown and passengers had to go into quarantine in England, I had a couple flying into Scotland, and Qatar Airways had a flight cancellation and they weren't going to fly into Scotland, so they flew them into London. And it was a wee bit complicated because we needed to move the quarantine hotel. So I was there to be able to help and get it sorted. So when they landed, it was all done for them.
Okay, a lot of people think that if they go through a travel agent, it's going to end up being more expensive for them. But I think cutting corners when it comes to costs and using deal websites sometimes can end up being a little bit more expensive. How much would you save doing it yourself, or is it actually about the same when it balances out using you?
I would say, besides a travel agent's booking fee, because we need to charge a fee to cover our time and our costs, um, I don't think you'd be paying a lot more. If anything, travel agents are able to find better deals. We've got deals negotiated with the airlines, so fares. A lot of the time, we get cheaper deals. So I don't think we'd. I believe travel agents do save clients money rather than cost them more.
And then you can also do things like organizing upgrades.
So no, the if upgrades from long time ago have changed. Long ago, if you knew somebody at the airline, you get an upgrade. Nowadays, it's about flight capacity. If the flight is full, the airline will normally automatically upgrade passengers of a status of that airline. Or it's luck. Sometimes people get luck, but sadly, travel agents, I don't think we don't have the contacts to do that anymore.
So the little black book has gotten a little bit thinner, which is a problem, I'm sure. Now, when it comes to booking online for, say, if I'm going to book to go somewhere, you think, oh, that's a great flight. That's really cheap. And the travel agent has told me it's going to be this much or that much. And then we don't realize that the things like having to pay for your luggage to be on the plane, and having to pay for specific seat allocations on the plane are not actually built into those things on websites. Do you help people navigate through that if they've made a mess and they've come to you and said, help now, once they've already done a booking?
Yes, we do. I do try and help a passenger because there is, especially lately, I'm finding a lot of international carriers are selling light fares, and light fares meaning without luggage. And it's fine if for a short hop in Europe, but not for a holiday. You need your luggage. So yeah, it's good to be able to prepay the seating on full flights. I know it costs more, but then you've got peace of mind that you'll have your aisle or your window and the baggage. Yes, of course.
Taking your baggage with you overseas, that's a terrible thing, especially if you're going on holiday. Now, why would you say to people, what is the number one reason why you would say to people, rather use a travel agent if you're going on something, especially if it's a complicated routing?
I think the number one is planning and having a travel agent to be with you and to just be with you on the part of the trip. Make sure that when there's a flight delay and there's a fine connection, that they can put you on a later flight. Because if you're on your own, you scramble and there's nobody ever at an airport to help you. They're busy, it's different terminals. So I just feel paying to have a travel agent is peace of mind.
Yeah, well, I know that when I've done bookings myself in the past, I've found that it's actually easier to go into a ticketing office than rather than trying to do it online because you get so confused. I mean, you go and you say, I need to hire a villa in Tuscany. And you get like a million different kind of responses coming back. So as a travel agent, it's not just about booking flights and about booking hotels. You go the extra mile. So what else is it that you do for people?
Oh, I basically work with the traveller to tailor make and make the trip as smooth as possible. So whether it's a corporate businessman who needs to get from point A to B, I make sure I'm always one step ahead to make sure his transfer's there, the hotel room's ready earlier if need be. Yeah, and little things like when you say your trip to Tuscany, like if you're doing a walking tour of Rome, doing after hour entry tickets so that they can go into a cathedral after hours, not with 1,000 other tourists. And it's just the little things that what I've done when I've traveled that I like to share with my travelers.
That's awesome. So you do go that little extra mile for your people. Well, if I get to fly again overseas again, I'm definitely going to be able to get hold of you. Say, right, I'm going to come up with the most ridiculous thing and see if you can organize it for me. How's that?
I'll take the challenge.
It'll be a treasure hunt with a difference. Nikki, thank you so very much. And of course, that is When We Travel. So look them up if you want to go on a tailor-made tour or if you want to hassle without any problems whatsoever. We'll catch you again next week.